The CIA in 1977 secretly owned an insurance complex and invested profits in the stock market, many of them with financial entities on the back end. The committee also found that the agency had continued to maintain secret relationships with several hundred faculty members at American colleges and universities, despite a directive from President Johnson 8 years ago that barred covert associations between the agency and scholarly institutions in this country. That's Big Papi Bush right there, by the way. And then I happen to notice that in 1971, the CIA was also linked to a swine virus that was released in Cuba. A U.S. intelligence source told Newsday he was given the virus in a sealed, unmarked container at a U.S. Army base and CIA training ground in the Panama Canal Zone, with instructions to turn it over to the anti-Castro group. The 1971 outbreak, the only time the disease has hit the Western Hemisphere, was labeled the most alarming event of 1971 by the UN Food and Agricultural Organization. African swine fever is a highly contagious and usually lethal viral disease that only affects pigs, and unlike swine flu, cannot be transmitted to humans. There were no human deaths involved in the outbreak, but all production of pork, a Cuban staple, came to a halt. Pigs. This is after the Bay of Pigs also had something to do with Cuba. So pigs. Yeah, and so the CIA's training facility in the United States is called The Farm, and back when it was founded, it was known as the War's Pig Farm. War's Pig Farm. War's Pig Farm. Ohio Casualty Insurance and Ohio Casualty of New Jersey are both part of a Rockefeller bundle of insurance entities that were reinstated just ahead of 9/11. Another one is the Economy Insurance Agency Company that was incorporated in 1916, which comes back to life in 1977 as the James B. Oswald Company. And that's kind of important because Alex James is Lee Harvey Oswald's alias. And so it comes back and it merges there, and then it merges with Hoffman Insurance right here. And Hoffman Insurance, it also merges with the Oswald Financial. But Hoffman Insurance is actually Tower Insurance. And Tower Insurance merges with Tower Financial. Ever hear of Towers Financial? Towers Financial, see Hoffman? In 2019, right after Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, right? Stephen Lee. Stephen Hoffman? Stephen Hoffman, remember? Towers Financial, Jeffrey Epstein, is Towers Insurance. Towers Insurance Company. Towers Insurance sounds a lot like Towers Financial for a reason. Ever hear Towers Financial? It was incorporated by Jeffrey Epstein. Well, let's take a look at what's going on here. This is CEB Inc., formerly known as the Corporate Executive Board Company. Interesting. Corporate Executive Board Company. But they're transferring care of Gartner all these different trademarks, like ownership to all these different trademarks. So Towers Group, and this is where Towers Group companies, Towers Insurance, Towers Risk, Tower Group, Tower Group. And then you go down here, and this is the agreement to just, and it's a lot more than what you just saw. Sage as a trademark, Sage, you're in great company, the Power of Clarity, Corporate Leadership Council, Corporate Strategy Board, Insurance Advisory Board, the VIP Forum, Sunstone, ADR, AEC, Benefits Roundtable, CCC, CEB, Business Banking Board, Benefits Roundtable, China HR Executive Board, Edison Circle, IAB. Wow. IAB, the trademark. the U.S. trademark for IAB. PSC, PSC Solutions, Sales Leadership, SEC Solutions. That's the Securities and Exchange Commission. Castle Point Reinsurance, One Choice, Tower Advantage. Look at all these towers. Look at all the towers. Tower. Adirondack Insurance Exchange. And it's a lot, right? It's a lot. And essentially, if we go over here and we look at Citizens Insurance, if we go over here to Citizens Insurance, we see that it is, on the back end, First Citizens Bank shares. And so manipulating the identity of a bank for the sole purpose of hijacking the assets that it holds in trust. Wow. Cooley LLP. So George Cooley is who they named to be essentially the founder of the Farm Bureau, the president of Nationwide Farmers Insurance. So they are assuming the identity of the Farm Bureau and liquidating all of the farmers' shares ahead of 9/11. This is 300 basically companies folding in to the First Citizens Bank and Trust. Did you see this? O50 OMG. Look at all these Apex. Wow. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Vest well. There it is, right there. There it is. File destroyed, but brought back in 87. Oh, wow. And then one last. I can't believe it. Backdated to 10/0/0 of 2012. Being filed in 2022. 18 pages of trademarks. Here is Insurance Compliance Center, Inc., Freedom Tower Insurance Agency, backdated again. National Corporate Research, Freedom Tower. The CIA and Citizens Insurance sounds a lot like Citizens Bank and Trust for a reason. It was emulating the identity and absorbing the assets retained by Citizens Bank and Trust. But it says Citizens sells insurance policies through a network of brokers who prey on foreign families and retirees with promises of guaranteed returns backed by U.S. Treasuries that will secure retirements. The money is not invested in treasuries, and the policies funnel millions into continuous open market purchases that have inflated CIA shares to absurd value levels. So Citizens Insurance, its ticker is CIA. Is it a house of cards? Well, another one.